I honestly did not see this coming. So, if you've been watching my videos, yeah, I do reaction videos, but I've been trying to do some other stuff, some like new stuff. And so one of the things is I've been trying to keep up with this whole messy situation between NewJeans and Hype/Adore. And you know, I wake up. Was it this one? I think last night I saw the headline, and I actually could not believe what I was reading. So, if you guys live under a rock or you have no idea what's going on, apparently Adore has terminated the contract with Danielle. And I'm gonna say it again. I did not see this coming, honestly. I know when we last kind of left off with them, they had the court ruling, and basically, last news that we heard from all the members is like, you know what, they're gonna come back. They're gonna come back to Adore / NewJeans, and basically, I guess, just come back as NewJeans. Stick together, try to put things in the past behind them. That had to been around October. So I know everybody was trying to figure out and see what happened. I mean, the most logical thing was for them to have a comeback, but no, that's not happening now. The old NewJeans that you knew of no longer exists, and I am absolutely shocked. So we'll get into it. Please, if you can, gonna give me a nice end of the new year. Just make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like, comment, share. Once again, hit the subscribe button. So let's get into it. I'm checking out an article from Forbes. So shout out to Forbes. Shout out to Jeff Benjamin. I read a couple of stuff from this writer before. He's a good writer, so hopefully we'll see. So we got Adore shares NewJeans update. Hani returns. Minji in talks. Danielle's contract terminated. That's I never thought I would see this. Oh wow. So let's figure out what the hell just happened here. All right, so let's see. I'm reading this as you are, so forgive me. This looks a little not polished, if you will, but I've. All right, so this is, let's see. All right, yep. Okay, here we go. Okay, here. Posted across its official social media channels in Korean, Adore shared that the label has engaged in extensive discussions with Minji. Yeah, we knew that. We heard that. This was pretty much coming where they basically said, yeah, we're going to be joining. And Adore said, not so fast. We haven't agreed to it. We're going to be talking, and then we'll go from there. As I said, despite the reports that the remaining 3 NewJeans members have returned to Adore and intend to continue with the group Adore, Adore's official stance was always that we are checking whether the 3 members intend to return, as shared by its global communications representatives. I know when this specific news came out, I was very interested in the wording of this. Because basically the 3 members said, yeah, we're coming back. Adore was like, not so fast. We got to talk to you. And the 3 members, we were checking whether the 3 members intend to return. Like, when I read that, I was like, Adore really wants to make sure that the 3 members truly want to come back to Adore. Now, does that mean that, they have to basically beg for forgiveness and say, I'm sorry, it never happened again? Basically suck up to Adore. That's what I was kind of reading into it. Adore was, you know, with all the legal action and all the negative publicity, I think they were very hesitant to kind of let them back in. All right, here we go. So let's see. Continue on. Early on December 29, local time in Korea, Adore first shared an update on Hani, noting that after the parties held in-depth extended conversations, the 21-year-old Melbourne native decided to stay with the Hybe label. So, okay, yeah, she was part of the three, so she decided. So now we have three members basically back. So let's continue. While Hani is following Hayden Hyen's footsteps, the future of the remaining two members was not as clear. So Adore shared that the eldest member, Minji, is in ongoing conversations with Adore, continuing discussions to foster greater mutual understanding, with an update on the 21-year-old expected in due time. So Minji is still up in the air, but the way this sounds kind of seems that she's going to come back. Otherwise, I feel like this would have been a whole lot harsher. But the fact that, they're talking to each other, getting an understanding. So basically, Adore is trying to figure out, from Minji, what the hell happened, what the thought process was. And Minji's probably just trying to get from Adore, I guess trying to figure out, that, she doesn't get retaliated against, or they don't treat her harshly, and, what the future for her holds. So, seems like it's in a positive direction. At the very least, 50-50. All right, let's continue. When it came to final member Danielle, 20, Adore shared that it was determined that it would be difficult for her to continue as a NewJeans member and Adore artist. The company notified her today of the termination of her exclusive contract. The statement continued. Additionally, the company intends to pursue legal accountability against one member of Danielle's family and former CEO Min Hee-jin, who bear significant responsibility for causing this dispute and for the delays NewJeans' departure and return. Wow. Here we go. This is it. This is why they terminated. Wow. This part really kind of is really interesting. They determined that it would be difficult for her to continue as a NewJeans member and Adore artist. The way I'm reading it, they basically want nothing to do with her. Not even. It's so bad. I think their dislike of her, or at this point, it even sounds a hatred of her. And they believe that she caused so much damage to them that they don't even want her as like a soloist under their label. Or even if she got kicked out of NewJeans and, they set up another group, they don't even want her. Now, this is serious because Danielle was probably at the forefront of the dispute against Adore. Like, she was, from all the little interviews that I saw, articles, she was the most outspoken critic of it. So the fact that they basically said, we want nothing to do with you, is huge. And it tells me that in the talks with her, whatever she said kind of made it clear that maybe she wasn't holding herself accountable for the stuff, or she was just super defiant, or whatever it is. But the fact is, like, we don't want you as part of NewJeans, and we don't want you as part of one of our artists. Oof. That's that's not good. And the fact that they're going after one of her family members, that's like, this is serious. The fact that they're suing both of them, like, this is serious. And it's serious because, they're going after one of the family members. But not only that, they've won every single court case that they had against NewJeans. So, which means that, despite what you want to think, according to the courts and stuff like that, their story, their version of events is the correct one. So if they're going after one of Danielle's family members, and of course, Min Hee Jin, that means they have some evidence that something happened behind the scenes. And if I was the family member of Danielle, that is not good, because they've won every single court case that was presented against them stemming from this whole debacle. So, wow. All right, keep on going. Let's keep it going. Okay, speaking more generally about the situation at large, ADOR continued that through these conversations, ADOR came to understand that the members had been exposed to persist various controversies that arose during the dispute at a later opportunity, and discussions on the timing and method are currently underway. So this is huge. This is huge. And I'm reading this for the first time. So, these are my initial thoughts. Obviously, as more things come in, I can change it. But this is important too, as to why it seems everybody else except for Danielle seems to be coming back. Because Dor was very adamant in having discussions with him. So they brought back Erin and Hyen like almost right away, which means to tell me that through the discussions, ADOR felt like, those two were basically just following along as a sisterhood in support of their other the other NewJeans. But it shows me that they probably didn't fully buy into separating from ADOR, or didn't want to separate, or maybe it's because they felt, since the courts basically found in the favor of ADOR / Hype, they felt that, you know what, based upon the courts, we got to respect the courts. Let's just continue on in the NewJeans. But the fact that it says been exposed to persistently distorted and biased information over a long period of time leads me to believe that in the discussions with the two members, as well as the others, including Honey, and at this point, all of Minji and Danielle, I guess with the family members and the actual artists, ADOR found out like they were lied to, that the members were basically lied to. So whoever was telling them, giving them the main source of information, was probably filling their heads out with lies. And it seems to me also that ADOR probably gave or showed them like evidence to the members, basically saying that whatever they were told were lies, because I don't think, at the very least, 3 of the members would come back so quick. 2 of them came back really quick. And then Hani came back through more discussions. And then Minji, as I said, probably 50-50, but if I was a betting man, I would say that he's coming back. I don't think 4 of them would come back if ADOR didn't show them any evidence that, you know what, that whatever they were told were basically lies, or they probably showed them evidence that maybe Min Hee Jin was not exactly a good person and doing stuff on and not doing things for New Jeans as she was trying to lead on. She wasn't acting in the best interest of New Jeans. So that's just me. I don't know. But that's just kind of thinking about, you know, contract disputes, contract negotiations that I've been a part of. Well, not a part of, that I've seen, heard about, read about. Parties don't usually continue on with the people they've been fighting with unless A, the money's really good. Let's face it, it's all about the money. Or B, they've been shown proof that, you know, their whole dispute and argument is kind of based on some lies and, you know, things that weren't true. So they probably got shown that, if I had to take a guess. But then, even more of a bombshell, even more important, and I think this right here. Well, first we'll go with the fact that they both agree that, you know, they kind of get the respect and the love of their fans, because from what I read, there's a lot of people who kind of turned against New Jeans. Whether that is right or wrong, that's just up to you guys, personal preference. I can understand why they kind of turned their back on it. I can understand why people stuck with them, you know, because it's artist against label. You know, people want to support the artists against the record labels, the greedy record labels. But then how they went about it and where everything, I think it kind of really took a hit on their image. Me personally, I don't think they approached the contract disputes and the court hearings in the best way. I think they seriously hurt themselves, but I don't know. I try to put myself in their shoes so I can understand. But yeah, the fact that they are planning on discussing this is actually really huge. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they're going to do it. If they're just going to do it in like a video and then, you know, just sitting in front of camera, or they try to set up, they'll have like a host that they'll go on a show and they'll have a host ask a whole bunch of questions or something like that. I don't know, but it seems that they are willing to discuss it. That you're trying to see, you know, after everything is settled, how they're gonna do it. But that's gonna be interesting, because now that Danielle contract has been terminated, it is possible that we may be getting stories and we may be getting stuff from members who have returned, possibly talking negatively about Danielle. It is possible. And that is, that's going to be very interesting to see how that goes about. All right, let's continue. The statement concluded by sharing that ADOR will do its utmost to resolve this matter amicably and ensure that NJZ can return to fans side as soon as possible. Nothing special there. Yay. Will they return as a 3, 4, 5 member group? Is still to be seen. That's great. That's great. Here we go. They have the full notice. Okay. Let's just kind of skip through this. Blah, 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 blah. Following the court's final ruling. Blah, blah, blah. We know this. ADOR, we know this. Okay. Hani visited Korea with her family and engaged in long, in-depth conversations with ADOR. In the process, we revisited past events and took time to view matters objectively. After candid talks, Hani decided to respect the court's ruling and continue with ADOR. So this is important because the fact that they said that, you know, they wanted to view things objectively tells me that the door probably try to take a step back and see, you know, where they messed up or if they did anything to kind of fuel this fire. But most importantly, the fact that Hani decided to continue with ADOR means that, you know, whatever she was told from ADOR or whatever evidence she was shown from ADOR or whatever ADOR told them, you know, was convincing enough for her to continue on it. Because if they were truly horrible against Hani and them, then, you know, I don't think she would stay with him. Honestly, I don't. If it was that bad. Plus, I also think that Hani returned because of the other two members. So, and I think, you know, from what I can tell, obviously, they all like each other. They love each other as a group. You know, each other as sisters. So, you know, I'm pretty sure that was a big factor. And she probably wanted to continue staying, hopefully as NewJeans. So, alright, let's continue. Minji is also in talks with ADOR, and discussions are ongoing to broaden mutual understanding. In Danielle's case, we determined that it would be difficult to continue together as a NewJeans member and ADOR artist, and today we notified her of the termination of her exclusive contract. In addition, we plan to pursue legal accountability for one member of Danielle's family and former CEO Min Hee-jin, who bears significant responsibility for precipitating this dispute and for NewJeans' departure and delayed return. So, you know, as we've read before, this is pretty big because they're going after one of Danielle's family members. And I don't think they would do that unless they had evidence and they were confident that they were going to win in this court case. And they've won everything so far, so I'm pretty sure they got the goods. And then not only that, they terminated Danielle's contract. So probably, and this is from a not super fan of NewJeans, I feel like Danielle was either the most popular or one of the most popular members of NewJeans. And the fact that ADOR pretty much said, yeah, we're good. We don't want you. We think you're too toxic, or, you know, we think you've caused us too much damage, and for us to, you know, kind of bring you back is pretty important. Not only that, but they probably hold her responsible for this whole debacle. Like, they probably see her as the forefront of this dispute, in addition to Min Hee-jin and family members. So they probably, they really don't like her. All right, let's go. Through these conversations, ADOR learned that over a long period, the members had been continuously exposed to distorted and biased information, which led to many misunderstandings about the company and ultimately to this dispute. The company and the artists agree that to regain the love of fans and the public, it is... Oh, I just lost my place. Sorry. It is necessary, even if it takes some time, to fully dispel these misunderstandings based on accurate facts. We have also agreed to find an opportunity to address the various controversies that arose during the dispute and are discussing the timing and manner. ADOR will do its utmost to bring this matter to an amicable conclusion and to ensure that NewJeans can return to fans as soon as possible. So, there you go. I know this is kind of a long one, but this is important because, as I said before, you know, during this whole thing, and we finally got news that everybody wanted to return, we thought we were going to have come back in 2026, and that isn't happening. Wow. Not the NewJeans that you knew and love, not happening. So we gotta see what Minji is gonna do. So, you know, If you want to hold out some positive thoughts, they could return as a 4-member group. Mm, 5-member group. Or whatever it is. Whatever configuration. It's not going to be the original NewJeans because you no longer have Danielle. And this is at least for me, this is a big deal in several ways. One, this kind of puts notice on other idols, other groups, boy groups, girl groups, that if you're not happy with your company, with your label, and you decide to terminate your contract, you better damn well have solid grounds to do it, because basically the courts, I've told everybody, like, you need a legitimate, solid reason to terminate contracts. You can't just do it because your feelings or whatever. No, you need to, if you're gonna do it and you're gonna basically try to dissolve the contract, you better bring evidence. Your claims better be legitimate. Otherwise, same thing's gonna happen, and you're gonna become just another group of NewJeans. Second, ADOR kind of put other artists on notice, and not only that, I think kind of empowered labels across the Kpop world, kind of emboldened them a little bit by basically saying, listen, we don't care how much money you make us or how popular you think you are. If we believe, because a lot of this is perception, if we believe you cause damage to our sales, to our stocks, and basically to our reputation, we're going to cut you. And the fact that they ended the contract for one of the most popular members of NewJeans, if not the most popular, who's part of the biggest girl group, K-pop group at the time when they were there. Like, nobody can really deny it. They were huge. And really, I don't think they were at their apex, and I think it's just a trajectory to go up. I think their last couple of comebacks slightly did, but when you're astronomical heights, you did down that big, you're still super popular. Okay. The fact that they did that to one of the groups and basically said, yeah, bye. We don't want you. I don't care how much money you made us. Should kind of scare some of the idols. Especially because it sounds like they're going to continue with litigation against her, at the very least family members. Like, if I'm a record label and I see ADOR do this, I'm like, they probably all started having those thoughts as well. Like, if I have an artist, just cut him. No artist, and I feel like they believe like no artist is above the label, in a sense. You can't just do whatever you want. We're the label. We created you so we can cut you off, for lack of a better term. We created you, we can destroy you, essentially. And if you take a step back, you can kind of see it. Record labels put in an obscene amount of money into these groups, and you got to remember, they put money into hundreds of artists, hundreds of trainees, and only a few of them actually make it big and debut and become super popular. Some of them might debut and then disband. Some of them don't even debut, but they're still putting in money into the training and everything else. So despite what you might think, and maybe you hate the record label and stuff, you have to admit they pour in millions upon millions of dollars into, transportation, into, training them for choreography and singing. They put millions into makeup artists, styling artists, for the clothes and the makeup and the hair. Pour millions into making music videos. They pour millions into advertising, and let's face it, the artists aren't doing it. They're not putting money into that. They're getting money, and yes, they're the ones, singing and dancing and putting on the face, and they have the talent. But you can't have one without the other. You can't be an artist without support from either record label or an independent label, or if you're going to sell, you still need support from other people, makeup artists, cameramen, prop people, visual designer, visual effects, editors, producers. Like, you got to pay them, and that's what these labels do. You know, think about how popular Blackpink is. Think about how much money is being put into all their tours, the stage, and everything else. BTS. Think of that. We got NewJeans, and keeping the integrity of contracts and through contract law and making sure people are following the rules. Because you got to remember, if you let an artist do something and it's accepted, more are going to do the same thing. Same thing on the flip side. You allow a record label to do something, more record labels and labels are going to follow suit. So it's a bigger picture in terms of, it's not just NewJeans versus ADOR. It's contracts, it's legal claims, it's labor law claims. That is a bigger picture and has more ramifications for the entire industry as a whole. So, and as I mentioned before, the fact that Danielle's contract was terminated has ramifications for the rest of the artists. And yeah, it's one of those, if you decide to do something, you better be prepared to deal with the consequence. As ADOR just basically said, no matter how popular you are or how much money you make us, we will terminate the contract. We will cut you. We don't want you part of our label if we think you screwed us over. So, is that right or wrong? I have no idea. I'm just trying to take a more objective view of it. Because I don't get into this whole super fandom where I treat artists as gods. Do I like them? Yes. Like the music? Yes. But I tend to look at the big picture, so I'm not that hardcore. And plus, I'm not a a NewJeans super fan. Although I've grown to like their music too. It's very odd. I've gotten into them more, and now no more NewJeans. No more original NewJeans. So I'm just rambling now. Sorry for it. Hopefully you guys appreciate this long video. And hopefully you guys are spending the last few days of this year. I hope you guys are, hoping doing well. We'll see what's coming on for the next year. We'll see what's going on with Minji for the new year. We'll see what's going to go on with Danielle, because I don't know what's going to happen with her. We'll see what's going to happen with her in the year 2026. And now we're going to see what's going to happen with NewJeans in 2026. So, yeah. If you guys like this video, please make sure you subscribe. Please make sure you hit the like button. Comment. I'm very curious as to what you guys think of this whole thing, of this bombshell. Wow, I was not expecting that.